Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today, part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls. Excited to be able to get into today's questions. I was just taking a sneak peek at these questions right before pressing the record button. And like I said, I never prep for the show. I always make it so that, like, for example, just a few weeks back, we did our IHP Live. And of course, there was a lot of health questions people were asking me between talks of all the different speakers. And of course, I'm happy to answer any of your questions. I really am. And I always say that the house calls are no different. If you come up to me at an event, you ask me a question, what I try to give you is my non-medical advice, right? Non-diagnostic medical advice, and really drawing upon now 25 years of working with clients one-on-one. And so that's what I hope to share with you. And again, if I can be of service, that is the goal. So I would say without further ado, let's dive into today's show. That's why we're all here, right? So let me scroll to where the start. Today's episode 2480. So if you want to check out today's questions, I read through the first couple. I skimmed them just to see because I was actually excited between my first video and second video uploading as to what they're going to be. All right, so let's get into it. First one is from Jade. Jade is saying, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all you do and for all of us. You're a true blessing." Thank you, Jade. That's very kind of you. I have Gilbert's syndrome and fibromyalgia. I have horrible stomach issues and all over body pain. I use CBD oil for sleeping and for body pain. Am I putting more strain on my liver with CBD oil? Am I causing more damage? I also drink fermented drinks and eat fermented foods. Is this good for Gilbert's? My bilirubin has been 1.8 for the last 2 years. I've gone through a lot of stress and emotional grief. I'm thinking this caused my bilirubin to be higher than before, which is around 1.3. Thank you for your time. Blessings. Okay. So what I always say is like always is like don't guess, test. But if you're not testing, then use educated guesses on what you believe to be true. And what I would share with you is this, that cannabidiol, which is in CBD, right? So there's THC, tetrahydrocannabidiol, and there's cannabidiol, which is the CBD. So THC or CBD. Both of them do add some strain to your liver, which is like not necessarily unacceptable with Gilbert's. You just have to be saying, is this too much strain for me, right? Because like no two people with Gilbert's are exactly the same. And by the way, for people that are unaware, it's with a T, so it's Gilbert's, but it's typically pronounced Gilbert's, which is an issue with the liver, inflammatory, sometimes looked at as autoimmune, sometimes said to be caused by potentially viral-based issues, et cetera, et cetera. But the liver just has a little bit more of a challenge with detoxifications, with a high-fat diet, with fructose, et cetera. So that's kind of the lens that we want to be careful. We don't want to overdo. Alcohol and Gilbert's just don't mix. Same with smoking, of course. Now, the fermented foods is interesting, and I typically never recommend it for any of my clients with Gilbert's. And the reason is in these fermented drinks and foods, there's typically a little bit of alcohol, believe it or not. There really is. And it's not my favorite thing. It's really not. And so, like, unless you love it, then that's one thing to experiment with. But how do you know? Well, what you could do is you always change one variable before looking at your bilirubin. And so, like, let's say you want to keep CBD in there for pain and sleeping. Well, then you would keep that and you would remove the fermented drinks and food and see if that improves your bilirubin levels. In my opinion, though, is like you can eliminate CBD oil for sure because you're using it right now for sleeping and body pain. And so once you figure out what your sleeping and body pain issues are from, then we'll be able to fix that. You can't say fibromyalgia because fibromyalgia is a name for a collection of inflammatory-based symptoms leading to pain. I had fibromyalgia as well. So once you fix the underlying root cause, like most likely for you, again, I can't give you any medical diagnosis, but it's most likely gut-related and stress. That's typically what I see it. So you want to run the big 5 if you can. If not, you want to run the starter kit, heavy metals and gut, and that's what I would do. And then the third one, if you could run a third one after the starter kit, if you don't run the whole big 5, would be the stress, mood, and metabolism. All right, so that's how we do it. All right. Thanks, Jade. Tiffany's up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I was diagnosed with vertical heterophoria a couple of years ago. Even with the corrective lenses, it still affects me when I drive on the freeway, and the dizziness makes me feel very anxious. It's only gotten worse over the years. What can I do to, if anything, to find the root cause of this or at least relieve my symptoms? It's gotten so bad that I sometimes have to just pull over for a few minutes because of the anxiety. Thanks so much for all the great information. I listen daily. Okay. So for people that are and thank you so much, Tiffany, for the listens and for writing in. Vertical heterophoria. Again, I'm not a ophthalmologist or neuroscience in the way that this works, but I understand it. So basically what happens is, especially when standing, but you're talking about driving as well, one eye doesn't necessarily focus in the way that it should. And so that can throw off balance and it can throw up depth perception. So obviously it's a serious thing, especially when driving. Okay, well, what makes it worse? Oxidative stress. So like not enough antioxidants in the diet, like lutein, zeaxanthin. If you haven't tried the daily eye support, I would check that out at stephencabral.com/shop. To my knowledge, it's the most potent eye antioxidant-based product out there. It's a phenomenal, just in general, antioxidant product. My wife and I go on and off of it, and we're huge fans of it. And but stress is a big one too. So making sure that you get enough rest, that you're not overtaxing your nervous system, that you're doing things to challenge your body but not over-challenge them so you get better at dealing with stress, that you're using things like full-spectrum magnesium and Adrenal Soothe. And then if you go to a good, maybe holistic ophthalmologist, maybe they have eye exercises that you can do. This is out of my zone of competency that might be able to help strengthen the eye in some way. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. All right, Nicole's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been listening to your podcast for 2 years. Thank you for sharing your vast amount of knowledge with your community. Thanks, Nicole. My question is regarding my 7-year-old. After a long journey, we've finally been diagnosed with non-classic congenital adrenal hyperplasia, which has put his body into early puberty. For this, he has been put on hydrocortisone. After 3 months of taking hydrocortisone, his hormone levels are finally dropping. This was great news, except for the fact, after my request to check his A1C, verified he is pre-diabetic. Now I'm at a loss. Do you have any tips for me or know any good resources? My goal will be to focus on his nutrition as much as possible, as that is something we can control. I often think of you and your journey back to health. I know how intimidating this feels to me. I can only imagine how you felt. Thank you for your time and knowledge. Yeah, totally understand, Nicole. And of course, I feel for you with a 7-year-old. So here's the good thing. When you get the adrenals back under control, you should be able to get the A1C. So just for everybody out there, hemoglobin A1C is a measure of essentially glucose levels over the past 90 to 120 days. So I assume once you get those glucose levels back under control and you have your child moving their body, taking walks like as a family, maybe after dinner, and then eating good, nutritious whole food, and then getting the nutrients, micronutrients that your child needs, that their hemoglobin A1C will return to normal as well. I again, can't give you any medical advice, but I'd feel pretty confident about that. So stay the course. You're doing great. And make sure that whatever caused the non-classic congenital adrenal hyperplasia is under control. Under control, good. Then we don't have that surge in any type of androgens and cortisol, because the cortisol was most likely leading to that increased A1C as well, because we see that all the time. All right, so doing great. Stick with it. Get the magnesium going. Get the good nutrients, the daily activated multi, maybe just 1 capsule for a 7-year-old, and keep going strong. You're doing great. A little bit of omega-3s in there. All right, Jamie's up next. Hi, Dr. Raw. I was wondering if there's a difference between stomach bloat and lower belly bloat, under the belly button bloat. I sometimes find that while my upper stomach seems not bloated, I have severe bloating in my lower belly even first thing in the morning. This bloat doesn't budge with ginger and other natural remedies, or even may still be there after defecation. Are there differences that may cause lower belly bloat versus upper belly bloat? You know what? I wish I had my Walter, my little buddy, right up there. But I'm sure you can find previous videos of me with him. Yes, but I can share with you the difference in the anatomy. So when you touch your rib cage, so if you follow your rib cage to the very middle, right below the solar plexus where the heart is, there's the xiphoid process. That's where you give the Heimlich maneuver, if you ever learned that in first aid. Right below that, that's your stomach, okay? So it's actually pretty high up. So when you go down then towards the belly button, about an inch or so above, that's the large intestine. It's called the transverse colon. And then below that, all around the belly button and below, is actually your small intestine. So again, I'm not giving you any medical diagnosis, but people that get a lot of bloating there often have candida overgrowth or parasites or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And it's very, very common. I had that for my early young adult life. That was one of the issues I had. I had H. pylori, I had candida overgrowth, and I had SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So what you can do to actually look for these things is run just one lab called the bacteria and parasite stool test. And if you run that, you will find out if you have any of these imbalances, and then you'll know what to do in order to correct it, such as the CBO protocol with the citracetyl drops, all right? So hopefully that helped answer your question. And then just keep in mind, too, I have a whole course on digestion at stevencabral.com/courses. All right, Holly is up next. Holly says, "Hi, Dr. C. Hope you're well. I have one daily vice, coffee. Yes, it's organic, and the second is a Swiss water-processed decaf. However, I'm a latte drinker, and I do not enjoy the taste of the nut milks in coffee. My go-to has been oat milk. However, it contains vegetable oils that I know are not good. My question is, would I be better off with cow's milk or oat milk with oils? Which is the lesser of two evils? Thanks, Holly." Okay, so yeah, it's a great question. I can answer this for you. And never, so like you go like from most egregious to least egregious. So most egregious are vegetable oils, hydrogenated vegetable oils. So a lot of these oat milks have hydrogenated palm oil. They have soybean oil, corn oil, hydrogenated safflower oil. Like I don't have a lot of issues with sunflower oil and even some safflower if it's not heated. But once it gets heated, which it absolutely is, by the way, in nut milks, then I can't get behind it. If it was raw, well, not a huge fan, but not against it. Like certainly not radically against them. I mean, I'll use some sesame oil. I'll use some sunflower oil. There's some benefits to them. There really are. You just can't heat them. You can't oxidize them. And then they are a disaster for your body. But like that goes for most everything, right? Like once you start to cook and oxidize things at high temperatures, it breaks them down. So in this case, the best thing that you could do would be the least egregious if you have to mix it with something. So if you've try all the different nut milks though, like maybe you like macadamia nut milk or maybe coconut milk. Coconut milk's pretty close, right? To like you can do an organic coconut cream that's pretty close to like the consistency of milk. So you might want to try that. And again, there's lots of obviously nut milks out there. Now, okay, let's say you don't go with that. A raw, again, I can't give you any medical advice or even nutrition advice when it comes to raw milk because again, there's always a chance there's bacteria. But anyway, you might want to just try that raw sheep's milk, raw goat's milk, raw cow's milk, or if not, then you're just going to go with like an organic grass-fed cow's milk or cow's milk creamer, and you just use as little as possible. All right, so like that's my healthiest advice that I can give you. All right, we're going to keep it at that for today's questions. These were really great. Thank you so much for everyone for writing in. As always, like I said, I appreciate your support of the show. It means the world to me. I love being able to answer your questions. I love being able to record daily for you in the community. So much appreciated. I'll be back tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. It's going to be a fun one. Don't miss it. Take care, everybody. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.